Vee, and in today's video we're going to be talking about some very creepy things that have to do with swimming pools. And before we get started, I just want to mention a couple things. The first thing is, yes, we have a new background behind me. I announced it in my last video. It's just this really cool wave, summery, bright design. The wave looks like it's about to just come and like whack me in the face. And then we also have this like cool sun here. I just like it. It's so summery and happy. So if you would like to win it, all you have to do is go over to my Instagram page, follow me there, and DM me any emoji you want that's in the color of your favorite color. Does that make sense? Also, if you're looking at my face and you're like, what the heck, Jessii? Are there dots beside your eyes? Yeah, I explained it in my last video as well. I was doing my makeup, I messed up on this eye, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should put a dot on this eye to make up for it. And then this happened. So we're gonna have to deal with it for this video. It's a new style. Do you like it? I know I look weird. That's why you love me, right? All right, so first we're gonna talk about the history of swimming pools, and then we're gonna go into the creepier stuff. You guys know the way my videos go now, right? Swimming pools go back at least as far as 2600 BCE. The first elaborate construction is probably the Great Baths of Mohenjo-daro, an ancient and elaborate bathing site in Pakistan made from bricks and covered in plaster. So those were more like bathing holes, if you will. People didn't really use them for actual swimming as much as they did for just taking baths. By 1837, 6 indoor pools with diving boards were built in London, England. And after the modern Olympic Games began in 1896, they were pretty much everywhere. So after the end of the 1800s, swimming pools were just so popular. So when I was actually doing research for this video, the first thing that I thought of was this very, very scary episode of a show that I watched when I was a kid. If you guys remember that show called Are You Afraid of the Dark? I used to love that show, but I was also so afraid of it at the same time. There was this one episode on that show called The Tale of Dead Man's Float, and I could not make this video without at least mentioning it because it has to do with the swimming pool. People have actually voted and said that this was the scariest episode that ever aired of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The episode starts out with this flashback to 1954. A boy named Joe went swimming in a public pool unsupervised, and shortly after jumping into the pool, an unseen force pulls him under and he drowns. And then 3 other people drown in the pool only a week later. So the school decides to completely close down this swimming pool because obviously they don't want any more accidents happening. Then the show fast forwards to 1995, where 2 students discover the pool hidden behind the school's locker room. And long story short, the 2 learn that the pool was built over a cemetery, and one of the restless souls was not happy about being disturbed. And this unhappy spirit is this red cloth skeleton that slowly rises out of the pool and starts chasing them everywhere. And like when you're super young watching this, let me just tell you, it scared me so much. Like this red skeleton thing is not easy to look at. He's not. Anyways guys, I just had to mention that episode. If anybody remembers that, please comment down below. Alright, next let's talk about a story called The People in the Pool. Let me just tell you, this story gives me the chills. Wait till you see pictures that I'm gonna put along with this. There was a story about these parents that moved to a new house with their son. The backyard had an in-ground pool, and for some reason their son refused to go near it. And this made the parents really sad because one of the reasons why they bought the house was because their son really loved to swim. So it was very important to them to find a house that had an in-ground pool for him. But for some reason when they moved in, the son just seemed afraid of it. And this is where it gets creepy. Whenever they would ask their son why he was afraid of the pool, he would say that he didn't like the people that were standing in the pool. And his parents were confused because they were the only ones there. Only 3 of them were standing in the backyard. But this little boy said that there were too many people standing in the pool. And they started getting concerned that maybe there was something wrong with their son's health because obviously he was seeing things that they couldn't. And he was so afraid of the backyard that he was having constant night terrors. So they decided to send him away to stay with his grandmother for a few weeks. They hoped that that would sort of help his mental state. And the first night that their son was away, the mother walked into the backyard because the dog was barking at something. And as soon as she did, she stopped in her tracks because in their pool looked to be about 18 people just standing unmoving at the bottom of the pool, fully clothed. So she was finally able to see what her son was seeing this whole entire time. So they did some research into the history of their house, and they found out that it was built over an old burial ground, which unfortunately happens quite a lot. A lot of neighborhoods and buildings are unfortunately built over really old cemeteries and graveyards. So I guess the spirits were not very happy about this and was sort of trying to scare this family away. Or maybe they just wanted to go in the pool. Maybe they just wanted to cool off, you never know. But like, this story gave me the chills. Alright, next let's move on to some haunted and very weird pools around the world. The first one is called the Red Pool. This is a blood red pool in Thailand at the Library Resort. And when I first saw pictures of this pool, I didn't know if I was fascinated by it or terrified of it. Maybe like both at the same time. I just feel like it would be so strange to actually swim in a pool that's not just like clear bluish water. But while the creepy coloring might make your skin crawl, there's no risk of turning red after taking a dip. And believe it or not, the red hue of the pool water is an optical illusion. So the water is actually crystal clear. It's not actually red, but the way the pool was made, they actually constructed it with red tiles. So the water reflects off of those red tiles. And I think that's such an interesting way to create a pool. I wonder why they did that. Next, let's talk about the Queen Mary's haunted swimming pool. The Queen Mary was a boat that was built in 1936. It had 5 dining areas and lounges, 2 cocktail bars and swimming pools, a grand ballroom, a squash court, and even a mini hospital. And this was how rich people used to like to travel. They literally had so many things inside of one boat. Today, the Queen Mary is known as one of the most haunted boats in the world, especially in the first class pool area of the boat. Some reports claim this pool is haunted by the ghost of people who drowned in the pool. Now, people say the only ghosts that have been seen are female ghosts. They say there's at least 1 adult woman and 1 younger child, and apparently that child's name is Jackie. And so whenever tour guides take people through this haunted swimming pool area, the tour guide will start singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star in hopes that it will attract the child ghost to like come out and freak people out. Little Jackie's cries can often be heard echoing throughout the swimming pool part of the boat, and there are reports of wet footprints around the empty pool's edges. So while I think this is really creepy, I also think it's just so sad because these ghosts are just stuck on this boat forever. And then we have what's called the chair pool, and this is just so bizarre. Over 20 years ago, the University of Rochester decided that it would be a good idea to dispose of some old chairs and desks in one of the school's abandoned swimming pools. No one really knows what led them to this decision, but it looks completely bizarre. And I didn't find anything about it being haunted per se, but a lot of people have said that when they go to this pool to look at this like chair pile, they felt some very strange vibes. And it doesn't help that there are creepy red footprints painted all over the place. There's even like pictures of footprints going up and down the walls, and I have no idea what that means, but that's like creepy too. And then lastly, we have the pool urban legend, which I think a lot of parents have told us this before. Kids have long been warned by their parents and teachers about a chemical in swimming pools that reveals the presence of urine. So basically, they say that if you pee in the pool, there's this chemical in the water that will turn your pee like bright purple, and that way people can actually see if you're peeing in the pool. And I was looking this up, and no matter what your parents may have told you, this type of chemical does not exist anywhere in the world. It's definitely just something that people tell you so that you don't go and pee in the pool, because obviously that's not very sanitary at all. Don't do that. I know we all have, but don't do that. But yeah, I just thought it was a funny pool urban legend to bring up, because I remember my own parents being like, don't pee in the pool because there's a chemical that will turn it colorful. Anyway, so guys, those are all of the creepy things about pools we're going to be talking about today. If I missed a really cool haunted pool around the world, definitely comment it down below. And if you like this kind of content, give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you want to enter to win for the backdrop behind me, the contest is over on Instagram, and I will be announcing the winner in a few weeks. But I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!